Nio has completely broken out of this descending triangle as well as this major long-term resistance, and we continue our rise up, finding a little bit of resistance at that 520-ish level. But we do see buyers step in on the most recent daily candle, keeping us above this threshold, trying to make this a small retracement and continue our movement up. Now, should we expect buyers to continue their movement up, or are sellers going to get net control, retracing some of this movement? Now, guys, on the weekly, what I want to point out is that Neo has been very much on a big decline for a while now in the long-term picture, but we do see some nice price action in the more recent term. So we find that bottom slightly above that 338 level, right? We find that descending triangle-like pattern, just like we mentioned in the last video, where we got tighter and we broke out of that, squeezed up, finding a very nice move out of that range. We're talking around 100% movement. That's where we find some longer term resistance. So we get shot down from that, guys. We kind of find some tighter consolidation on the weekly. Get pushed to the floor of around that 338 level, but our ultimate low was that $3 level. Finding a bit of ascending support. Right, seeing a little pop here, kind of making a closer descending triangle within this longer term range here, guys. So we see a little bit of a descending triangle pattern, break out a longer term descending triangle like pattern, and we're kind of seeing a mini one right here. And what happens here is we get that movement up. Sellers push it back down to the floor around that 338. Price gets very tight considering what we've been seeing, right? That volatile price nature. Now somebody has to win in this battle as we're getting right to the edge there. Either buyers push it through this range or sellers push us under this support level. We see how nice this support level has held up during this whole time. So we do see buyers step in here with a very aggressive green candle, blowing us past this smaller descending triangle-like range as well as that long-term range. And after breaking through a smaller resistance zone as well as a longer-term, pretty major resistance zone here, sellers can't step in. Buyers continue their movement up, reaching all the way above to around that 520 level. We see a little bit of selling pressure given that top wick, but we are holding quite nicely and moving up very nice, guys. Great price action from the buyers, as this is pretty typical to see. Last time we broke out of a range like this, we see continuation for 1-2 candles. Sellers try to step in and a nice huge green candle continuing our movement up. And then buyers try to push it. We find that resistance. Sellers get into control. And then we see that descending movement. But the difference with this time, guys, we've broken out of a shorter term resistance as well as a very long term resistance. This descending triangle being a lot more major than the one we saw here. And we got a 100% move out of this one. So definitely looking nice for a huge continued move up. Even if we get a small retracement, guys, right? Sellers trying to push us down a bit after a big move up. They try to step in here, leading to a small retracement. We'd be likely to see a big correction back from that seller movement and continuation. Could be seeing that high of 770 and possibly past that if buyers can remain in control and volume can really flush in here. As volume has been in a very clear ascending profile after breaking out of those zones. A weekly overall just looks very nice for the buyers, guys. For the bear, you want to see a retracement back down as we're breaking out of clear resistance zones. And we have seen buyers really step in where they have to step in and dominate. All right, guys, now on the daily, we see a better perspective of how we broke out of that range. So we see that long-term resistance here, see a lot of volatile chop, and we get down to a smaller descending triangle-like range, see a big movement up, a little bit of indecisive back and forth action, but we do end up getting very tight. We see an obvious tight range. Given we were very volatile within this entire long-term structure, we tightened up a little bit given the smaller structure, but this is some extremely tight price action, relative to how the stock likes to move and how we've been seeing price move in more recent times. We see around 13 to 14 candles of very tight price action before we get that breakout. So this is textbook, guys. We have a very nice support level around that 338. We see we bounce here, leading to a big move. We bounce again, come down, and buyers aren't letting us get pushed below that level. And we're getting very, very tight compared to relative price action. So this is textbook for a big breakout, either up or down. In this case, we get that big breakout up as buyers step in with a nice green wide bar, shifting that momentum of the structure. Breaking out of this resistance zone, followed up by another very nice green day, breaking out of that longer term resistance. Perfect area for sellers to step in, but they cannot step in. We lead up with another green day and quite an indecisive one after that, leading to 4 green days in a row after breaking out of some very important resistance. Sellers try to step in here, bringing us back down. We see that long lower wick, meaning that there is very nice buying pressure. Sellers cannot get that move up. They tried pushing us back down to around that 393 level. Cannot get that movement. We get right back up. Buyers buy it up. See a little doji candle. Nevertheless, we continue our movement all the way to that 521 level. So where sellers try to step in, but we see very reminiscent of that candle right here. See that red hammer type of candle. Longer body for the hammer, but we see very similar candles which led to a continuation up. It's definitely a nice red candle to see, guys. We see a lot of buying pressure there, showing that the sellers try to push it down earlier in the day, but the buyers bought it right back up, showing that we aren't letting a retracement happen. Followed up by that, we see a pretty tall wick, meaning that there is some selling pressure there. So pretty much indecision going on here. We could be chopping a little bit. That definitely isn't out of the question, as we've seen a very nice movement up, right, breaking out of that structure. It's definitely not impossible to see some chop here. We are very volatile though, guys, so price is really trying to go up or down. It's not a lot of room for tight chop, but we could get tight chop, right? We could get a little bit of a flag and pull like structure. We could kind of see that forming as we speak, right? Price could be getting a little bit tight here. And then from there, we could be led to a further breakout, right? A very aggressive move after breaking out of that pennant-like structure. Definitely a possibility, guys, as we have had a nice movement up. We see sellers try to step in. They can't step in very well. Could be seeing a little bit of chop here before that continuation, but very nice price action. This is exactly what you want to see. Buyers in ultimate control after breaking out of an important resistance and remain in that control when the sellers try to step in and find their retracement. Or we could just be seeing a volatile movement up, retesting that 520, trying to break through that where we'd be pretty much clear to that 540. Right, a little bit of chop there, guys, a couple times. So it could be a little bit of a chop zone once again, as every time we've gotten in that zone, we do see a little bit of back and forth, besides this point right here. But the more recent times, we've kind of wicked up there, couldn't hold that level, wicked up there a couple times, couldn't hold that level, and gotten shut down very hard. So we are kind of met with a very important resistance here. But showing how price is reacting to that small rejection here, right, buyer step right back in. So we'll have to see what price does within the next couple of days. But I do think that we get that retest of 520, and if we blow through that as well as that 540, we would be pretty much cleared to those higher levels, right? The top of that range of 770, a little bit of resistance around that $6 psychological level. But yeah, looking very good, guys, after breaking out of some major resistance zones. Now on the hourly, we see a better perspective, right? We see an obvious stair step like pattern after breaking out of that very tight consolidation. So we see a bit of volatility, and then we see a very tight range as we examine on the daily. We just see how nice the support holds up, really showing that we are ready for a move up, and the buyers are refusing to let the sellers push us under this zone. The buyers step in right when they have to step in, finding a very nice green bar, breaking out of that more major resistance here. And that leads us to a stair step like pattern. So we're getting these big moves up with smaller retracements, right? We have that big move up as buyers have to make a prominent move as we're breaking out of a major resistance, and we see a small retracement, gap up, big move up, small retracement, very nice continuation move up, smaller retracement, move up, small retracement, move up. And as the sellers try to get in control after hitting that resistance of that 520 level, it ends up just being a small retracement once again. And buyers find that control, sellers try to get back in control, possibly being a small retracement as we continue to trend back up for that retest and that ultimate breakthrough. So I really look at very bullish here. I think that we do end up getting that retest. If bears do get in control, they'll have to break us below that structure, as we are in a very obvious ascending profile, right? We find some ascending support there very obviously, and we're in a pretty tight range ascending up. Like I said, sellers try to make that move, ended up correlating with that stair step like pattern. Buyers bought it when they had to buy in, and now we're retesting that ascending support, seeing if that ascending range will hold, where we'll get that retest. Even if we did break through that ascending range, right, we still would be an overall very nice uptrend. As if the bears did try to get into control, guys, they'd have to correct around a 40% movement. So given the increased volatility as well as a very nice reaction to this bullish ascending support, I truly think that we get that retest and continue our movement up. Looking very good on Nio here, guys. So we're staying very much bullish on Nio. We're seeing an obvious break of this major resistance as well as a smaller resistance here. An extremely nice continuation, not seeing any major pullback yet. Looking very nice from a TA perspective. If bears did get into that control, guys, we'll see a break of this ascending support. The only point for the bears here, guys, is that we are at a pretty major resistance. The time we tested it here, we got shut down, leading to a bigger movement down. Try to test that range once again. Got in it for around a day, but then we did break down, leading to this range that we see here, this shorter term descending triangle. But at the same time, that was not a breakout formation, right? This was in the midst of this descending triangle like formation, this longer term formation here. So I think that because we broke out of these two resistance zones, it wouldn't make sense to find that resistance here and begin our movement down. I definitely think within the next week we break through that level and possibly that 540. Now let me know your price predictions in the comments below. What do you guys see Nio doing? Where do you guys think price will be within the next week to possible month? If you guys enjoyed it and want to see more Nio content on the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, trade smart, and I'll see you all in the next one.